Okay, let's jump right in. Imagine you're sitting on an absolute gold mine. But instead of digging into the wealth right beneath your feet, you're spending all your time and your budget constantly scanning the horizon, hunting for a few extra nuggets. Sounds completely counterintuitive, right? But honestly, that's exactly how so many massive organizations are operating today. In this explainer, we're diving into a fundamentally new paradigm. We're talking about a massive shift that takes enterprises from manually hunting for external assets to systematically orchestrating the incredible latent value they already have sitting right inside their own walls. Welcome to the era of opportunity AI.
The core friction here is honestly fascinating. It all boils down to one simple, powerful realization. We aren't short on assets, we're short on orchestration. Think about the average large tech enterprise. They are unbelievably capability rich, right? Deep talent, expensive equipment, incredibly unique IP. But at the same time, they're often totally coordination poor. It's kind of like an airport. You can have a state-of-the-art runway, a fleet of modern jets, a highly trained crew, and thousands of eager passengers. But if you don't have a control tower to direct the traffic in real time, the whole system just stalls out on the tarmac. Nothing takes off.
So how do we actually build that strategic control tower? Well, Opportunity AI isn't just another generic scouting tool asking, hey, what's out there in the world? No, it's a highly focused triage system. Think of a busy hospital emergency room. You wouldn't just throw more doctors into a chaotic waiting room and cross your fingers. You need a system to route incoming cases based on severity, fit, and urgency. This strategic intelligence layer does exactly that for your business. It maps your underused internal capabilities to external pathways, essentially triaging resource allocation, so you know exactly which combinations of internal assets and external targets deserve your executive's scarce attention right now.
Now, when you actually implement this triage layer, you open up a massive new search space. You're unlocking entirely new possibilities across 6 distinct but totally interconnected collaboration surfaces. We're talking joint ventures and co-development, spinning out startups, venture studio integration, academic collaborations, nonprofit ecosystems, and even new funding pathways. The real game changer here is that these aren't separate universes anymore. By mapping this whole graph together, leaders can start sequencing their moves. You could pair an academic collaboration directly with a venture studio integration, rather than treating every single partnership as an isolated manual workflow.
Okay, so how does this discovery infrastructure actually flow? It's a remarkably clear 5-step path to value. First, you discover those non-obvious matches that a human would just naturally miss. Second, you structure them so they're actually partner-ready. No vague ideas here. Third, prioritize them by strategic fit and market timing. Fourth, route those directly to the right business owners internally. And finally, support those teams with evidence-backed outreach. You're basically taking fragmented, siloed organizational knowledge and turning it into concrete, actionable collaboration blueprints.
To really wrap our heads around the jaw-dropping scale of what this paradigm shift makes possible, let's just look at one number: 1,000. In just a single 1-month enterprise engagement, this AI-driven approach can generate roughly 1,000 strategy blueprints across your relevant themes and business units. That is a staggering volume of scoped, strategic options. Honestly, that's a level of output that would normally take a traditional human strategy team years to compile manually.
And the magic doesn't stop inside the building. That internal mapping is instantly followed up by matching those internal capabilities against another 1,000 external entities, startups, academic labs, public programs, you name it. 1,000 internal assets matched against 1,000 external opportunities. We are systematically exploring a strategic search space that is so vast and so complex, it would literally take human teams decades to hunt through effectively. This right here is the new scale of opportunity.
Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. The second you walk into a boardroom and talk about generating thousands of AI-driven matches at lightning speed, executives are going to hit the panic button and ask, okay, but what about governance risk? And fair enough, it's a totally valid objection. How do you protect the enterprise, maintain compliance, and keep trust when things are moving way faster than humans can naturally track?
Well, the reality is that this system operates on a principle of trust by design. It functions exactly like an aviation autopilot. Autopilot makes the flight incredibly smooth, right? It handles the complex micro-adjustments and flags constraints early. But you'd never board a plane if the airline completely removed the pilots. The exact same logic applies here. The real value comes from calibrated automation combined with highly trained human oversight at explicit early decision gates. It doesn't replace human judgment, it actually frees it up so you can focus on making real strategic decisions instead of wasting time doing the manual labor of hunting for leads.
So, bringing this all together, this platform really drives 5 major structural shifts in your operating model. First up, we're finally moving away from relationship-dependent discovery.
We've all seen it happen. A massive, lucrative partnership completely collapses the second the one champion holding the golden Rolodex leaves the company. It's incredibly fragile. Now you're shifting to system-supported discovery. You get a resilient, persistent network that lives inside the organization itself, completely immune to employee turnover.
Second, we are absolutely shattering those corporate silos. We're moving from local optimization, where isolated business units just operate in a vacuum, only seeing their own immediate stuff, to true portfolio visibility. Suddenly, enterprise leadership can look down at the entire board and spot these massive cross-unit orchestration possibilities that definitely would have flown under the radar if left to individual departments.
Third, and this is a total lifesaver for anyone who's ever structured a deal, we're moving from late governance to early governance. Instead of bringing in legal and compliance at the very end, usually after you've poured your heart and millions of dollars into a partnership just to see it killed on a technicality at the 11th hour, governance constraints are flagged right at the concept stage. It dramatically reduces that expensive, heartbreaking friction downstream. Fourth, partnerships transition from being episodic pilots to repeatable pathways. They stop being these rare, exhausting, hero-driven exceptions. Instead, they become standard, scalable trajectories. It's basically the difference between sitting alone in a rowboat with a fishing pole, just praying you get a bite, versus running a highly managed, scientifically driven aquaculture operation.
And the fifth shift fundamentally changes how your teams reach out to the world. We can finally say goodbye to generic outbound activity. No more, let's grab coffee and synergize cold emails based on vague optimism. Now, teams approach potential partners equipped with evidence-backed, structured briefs. They can clearly demonstrate exactly why a match exists, what specific assets are relevant, and what a highly credible pilot looks like right from day one.
So, how do you actually implement this massive shift without betting the whole company on day one? The smartest, safest route is a structured 90-day pilot. It's super straightforward. Gate 1, around weeks 3 and 4, you validate your internal mapping. Gate 2, by weeks 6 to 8, you filter and select your top opportunities. In Gate 3, by weeks 10 to 12, you make a firm go, no-go decision on full-scaled implementation. You prove the measurable cycle improvements and conversion quality incredibly fast, without needing to wait for some massive mega deal to justify the new system.
I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. What entirely new partnership surface becomes visible when your internal data troves and the external market are interpreted together at a scale previously thought impossible? Just think about it. How much unrealized potential is sitting quietly inside your enterprise right now, just waiting for the right intelligence layer to wake it up? Thanks for exploring this fundamentally new paradigm with us today, and I hope this explainer has sparked some incredible ideas for your own organization's future.